It's everything everyone's way.
Is there anybody out in the parking lot, Larry? Might be wandering their way here, so. Okay, well, why don't we get started? I'm going to introduce Vern. The gentleman we're going to be hearing from this afternoon is Vern Page. Vern has come down here from Spokane, but I'm told that Vern's family roots is actually right here in LeGrand.
Nice.
His grandfather farmed in LeGrand, the Grand Rock Valley, and his mother graduated from high school right here in LeGrand High School. Vern's got credentials to justify his doing this course. He's an Air Force survival instructor at Fairchild. He's a high school science teacher and coach, so he's used to dealing with, arrested adolescents of all ages. And he's also a Department of Defense SERE contractor at the survival school. He's done that for 7 years, so he should have heard by now.
Yeah.
And while he was there, he helped to write the Joint Military Pocket Survival Manual. So some of you folks may have actually had to endure that. So, and that's all branches of the military use that. So kind of knows what he's talking about. He's an emergency home preparedness speaker. He's done it for 14 years. He's done it for neighborhood groups. He's done it for the Spokane Public Libraries, and he's done it in churches, just like we're doing today. Vern and his wife Sylvia, who is here with us today also, have lived in Spokane for the last 55 years, which is long enough to know your way around. Seen a few changes. Got 4 grandchildren, and most important, Vern wanted me to emphasize the fact that he loves Jesus and he loves people, which is why he's actually doing this. So, welcome, Vern Page.
Oh, well, it is good to be here. I just, every time one of my grandkids turns 12, I bring them to LeGrand and show them the old farm. And
Turn your mic on.
oh, that's me. Okay, somewhere.
You got it?
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so anyway, yeah, I bring them, and there's a Mormon family bought it from my grandparents, and it's like second generation of folks there, and they're always very just nice to invite us to come on the farm and see the old outhouse and all the things. But no, it's good. Well, I have a passion for this. There's a spectrum of experience here in this room, and I can see, several of you, I'm sure, have had some experience and say, you know what, I don't like the pain of that experience, and I think I'm going to be prepared for the next time. How many know what I'm talking about? I mean, if you've lived through a storm or something, you want to be ready for the next one. And over the years, I've had a couple of experiences where I go, next time this happens, I'm going to be ready. And went through a couple of hurricanes, one at 120. When I was in college, 120, we lost everything at the college with the Columbus Day storm. Some of you might have heard of that. And my family and I were in Hong Kong when a 140-mile-an-hour wind hit and took everything out. And we're up at the 13th floor, no electricity, nothing. I mean, the elevators quit, and people died. That was a very serious storm. And so, been hungry. We'll talk a little bit about food. All of us have been hungry for dinner, right? Or hungry for something, but once I was really hungry. And we're in the mountains, we're on snowshoes, we're not traveling roads, and we had loads to carry, and we went a week, And I started out that week with a little package of food about this big, which wasn't even enough for one day of working in the mountains. We traveled a number of miles, and I was more slender then than I am now, and I lost 22 pounds. And I was hungry. But I was very wise. I rationed my little package of food, and my last 3 meals were a lifesaver each. So I didn't starve. I had a little 10 minutes of energy, a little lifesaver. But, you experience that, and you say, I don't want to go without food ever again. And been thirsty once on the ocean, in a life raft, where you don't drink the salt water. And if you've ever been really thirsty, and I'm sure some of you have, it doesn't take too many hours in the sun, baling hay or whatever, and you can get really thirsty in a hurry, and we need that water, and it's very important. And so we want to prepare. These are very interesting times in the history of civilization. Never in the history of mankind do we have a world so tightly compacted and dependent and interdependent, and we'll see some of this with the slides, if you look at the big picture and really understand, and I don't really understand, but some that do explain it, that there's vulnerability, a serious vulnerability. And we want to have some things, and our goal is to have things in our home that if we don't have services for a period of time, we'll be fine because we prepared. Okay, with that, everyone received this little handout. You've got this. We're good on that. And this, some of you have seen, this is the 10-hour course. And we're going to do less than a third of that today. And for that reason, I'm going to move pretty quickly because I want to get as much as I possibly can to you. So I'm not going to take questions as we're going through, but we will have a break, and I will stay as long as you want. So jot your question down if you've got something, so that we make sure we get through the information. This little booklet is probably about 80% of what I will share up here. You've got it, so you won't have to be doing a lot of writing, but you may want to write a store in where you can purchase that here in town or whatever, just some little note. So hopefully that will save time for you as well, and we'll refer back to that. The very first page of this is kind of our general outline, and it's just 12 things. We've had to make this very, very simple because of this incredible spectrum. We have people that have maybe a couple days of food in their apartment. That's it. And some of you probably have more food in your home than I have. Okay, but we've got this is kind of a starting base of things that cover a lot of areas that will really help people get through an interim period. And so we'll keep coming back to that. Now notice they're little check, boxes. Instead of numbers, I will, on the slide, I will have them numbered. Like, what is number one? Number one is LED flashlights. That would be number one, then number two is the next one, and we'll go through as we go. And then we'll expound on that and go through the rest of the material. Okay. At the very end, I really appreciate people filling in the evaluation, and anything that can be helpful to me. I just did one in a church here a couple of weeks ago, and there was one lady who really put some good things down that is going to help me and help you, because we're going to pass that on. And so you may see something that, Vern, you should include whatever, okay? And so, please do that, and you don't hurt my feelings. I did this with teenagers for a number of years, thousands of teenagers, and they write stuff down, especially if you don't have to put your name on it, you know what I mean? And please let me know what we can do better for the next folks. Okay, with that, let's take a look. Okay. We live in a box. You know, all of us. Probably most of you have a home, maybe an apartment, or I'm assuming none of you are homeless, and we do have a homeless population, but they've got a tent and such. But we live in a box, and in this box, we live pretty comfortably because we have services coming into it. Whether it be, you know, water, electricity, propane, natural gas. Do you have natural gas throughout the neighborhood here? And so we've got these services coming in, plus we bring things through that front door. I'll go back, Tim. We bring things through the front door to use inside the home, whether it be medications, paper products, food, tools, you know, whatever. And so think of how much goes in that box for us to live 1 month. You know, if you start analyzing how many bags go in that house, how many products go in that house, and those products, most of which are not manufactured in La Grande. They're coming in trucks on a daily basis. Just tons of things are coming in every day to service the community right here. Okay, and there's a dependence on that, isn't there? Okay? Now, when everything is working, life's good. I love that picture. How many like coffee? Okay, you know, just in the morning, everything's working, a tea, whatever, you know, and so when it's working, now, when everything is working, we can easily develop, this is a psychological term of dependence, this bias, this normalcy bias. We tend to think tomorrow will be like today. It's just the way we are. We could have gone through a horrible period of time, and then things straighten out, and we think, hey, we're not going to go back to that. It's going to be sunny tomorrow. It's sunny today. In the old days, when we didn't know, we just knew it was going to be sunny tomorrow, you know, because it's sunny today. And that can get us in trouble, and it does get us in trouble, doesn't it? How many have lived without electricity for a week? Anyone go without a week? Oh, okay, good. And boy, you learn stuff, don't you? You just real quickly you go, you know, I wish I had, you know, okay. Oh, we're going the wrong way.
Sorry.
No problem. Now, there is no prediction of what's to come. I just think of this whole COVID thing. Who would have ever thought one stupid little virus causes much havoc worldwide? It was beyond my thinking that would ever happen. No, now, in thinking possibility, very important, there's a lot of potential for things to happen. I mean, numbers and numbers of things. This is down in Texas, in an area where they absolutely could not comprehend what cold would cause in that particular area. And some of you may even have friends and relatives from that area. From our Spokane website, I think there was how many thousands of hits just in our little energy deal on how do I prepare so that next time, you know, I can live without fuel. The droughts, man, we've had several major droughts, and you had that heat wave that came through. What was it, for a couple of weeks? You know, broke all kinds of records. Did it break records here? Spokane breaking records. I mean, things just happen. So don't think probability. When you think probability, you're probably not going to put your seatbelt on. You're probably not going to have a smoke alarm or a fire alarm. What's the probability that I'm going to get an accident today? And I think I've never been hit by somebody that didn't have insurance because they just knew they could get away with not paying it. And you know what I'm saying? When you start thinking the probabilities, sometimes we slack off. That missed us. And if that would have been aimed at us, oh my goodness, the havoc that would have caused, that EMP coming from that. That's an EMP explosion diagram that is a weapon that many, many countries have. Portland, that was crazy. Had some friends lose their business. There's folks in the world that want havoc, don't they? And some of them do not like us as a nation. Should we fear? Absolutely never. We should never have fear. Is that easy to say? It's really easy to say. I get frightened at times when I really start to think about things, especially when I think about my grandkids. I think about, but I don't want to be fearful. I don't know what happened to that. Don't be troubled. Don't worry about tomorrow. Yeah, Jesus said that, didn't he? He said, don't worry about tomorrow. Easy for him to say, although he did have concerns about what he knew was coming in a few months. But prepare for tomorrow. When systems fail, have a plan. You need to have a plan to be able to live in your box and not worry about whether a certain store is going to get toilet paper. I mean, people just panic on toilet paper and water. Have you ever noticed? It just disappears. Okay? There's more things to be concerned about. You can live without toilet paper. Mankind lived without toilet paper for thousands and thousands of years, so don't worry about the toilet paper. But it is a convenience. But you need to have things in that house. So we're talking about the list of 12. Turn to page 1, and number 1 on there is lighting. When electricity goes out and it becomes dark, it causes a lot of problems, especially if you have children or you have grandchildren, or even if you're alone. If you have no light, I wish I could tell you some stories of people that wound up in situations that were not safe and they did not have any lighting. Not a good thing. Okay? First of all, number 1, that first box, have flashlight and headlamps. And we have a little rule. I have a rule, and I want to encourage you to think about this. Within 10 seconds, anywhere you are in your home, and whether you have a workshop, a garage, wherever, you should be able to access light. Anywhere you're at. And so this is our kitchen. There's my wood pile out back there. A kitchen, and out my garage, and back in our bedroom, and down the basement, and my little workshop. I mean, and it's always there. I know where it's at. Unless the grandkids are playing with it and lose it or something. I mean, it's going to be there. And so I don't have to worry. As soon as the lights go out, and I know I have something. This is the type that I would recommend, a really good flashlight that has, I think this is like 500 lumens. That is very decent light that can work for you. And actually, we want to give this away. Where's our drawing can? If somebody wants, if you want to be the person drawing, you want to do that?
Nope.
Okay, Okay. Here, I tell you what. Okay, who do we have here? Okay. Connor Stone. All right, Connor. Man, good job. Yeah, that's a good little light. And so that type of thing. And you guys don't have a Costco in town. Where's your closest Costco? Tri-Cities, okay. And I imagine down and they really have some good prices on quality electrical devices, and most of the ones given away, that's where they came from. Okay, next. Okay, this is Costco, okay. And of course you can get these anywhere. And we get the flashlight, okay. Now, number 2 is a good lantern. And there's lots of lanterns. Coleman, of course, makes them, and different kinds of lanterns. But these LEDs, they are really decent. These have 4D cells. I forget how many hours of light this will produce, and even more if you bring it down where you're just kind of working at a table. This one, I think, is a little kind of emergency thing too. If you want to have a signal for your neighborhood or whatever. But okay, who's gonna win this guy? Let's draw another name. We got the can is here. We'll just. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll hang on to this, and you wanna draw a name for us? Another one. All right. Who do we got? We got Joe M. Joe M. Where's? Whoa, Joe. All right. Okay, this is yours. Okay. Stick that right there. And Costco. Okay, one more. Next slide here.
Check your mic.
Oh. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me? Okay. They get different lights in. This one, you can go 2 hours a day practically on lower power, which is great light for a year with 8 batteries. And they'll come and go. You know, they're seasonal kind of things. But those are good. And you can get other brands as well. Okay? And you put a mirror. This is my kitchen. That hangs all the time in my kitchen. And if we lose power or whatever, just turn that thing on. And that mirror, of course, really increases the amount of light. Okay? Now, these little pop-ups, these little 500 pop-ups, these are excellent. And you can often get these at Costco. The different stores will have different brands. But that is a pretty decent light that lasts a while. And it's so compact, great for backpacking and, you know, and having in your vehicle and such. And it also has a little emergency. Okay, who's going to get that? You can draw your own name, incidentally.
Kevin Reed.
Kevin Reed. All right, Kevin. Man, here you go. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, next. And this also is in my kitchen. And I turn those 2 lights on, and then I'm functional. Or Sylvia's functional. I mean, we're functional. Okay? Okay, next. Now, having batteries. I know people that buy the gadgets, and then they don't have the supply. And then emergency hits, and they run out of batteries. Have extra batteries, okay? And what I have done is I put batteries in a big ammo case. This is a 50 caliber ammo case. And get them, if you see a sale, get them on sale. Boy, they are going up in price. So when you get a good sale, you know, have some set aside. Great trade items, too. If your neighbor's got something you'd like to use and they could use batteries, this is great. Okay? Candles, old standby. And those big guys, they'll burn constantly for a week. Those big ones, and I recommend, I think on the list there, about 6 of those. And then these little prayer candles, best place is a Dollar Tree. $1.25 tree. Has yours gone up? Ours has gone up to $1.25. But you can get a prayer candle, and you can get one of these big mugs to haul it around with, and you can get one of these for $1. So for $4, this is really a practical little way to have a location where you don't have light for whatever. And I have one under each of the bathroom sinks, and mainly if it gets really cold, I want to keep my pipes under there warm. You could actually put it down there to keep it from freezing up, and if you have a plumbing on a wall that's on the outside or something. So anyway, these are excellent. Okay, next. Yeah, you can get a case of those for $15. Okay. Okay. And again, you can function very well in a bathroom, especially if you have a couple mirrors. Okay. All right. Let's see. Who do we have?
I did myself.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. I would just, only your husband did that. Okay. Good job. Good eyes.
I really want it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That was so good. Okay, next. Heat. Whoop, I just lost my. Oh, I gotta keep my glasses back on. I just gotta keep my glasses on. Indoor heating. This is my wood stove. I have a little wood stove. I'm the only person in my neighborhood that has a wood stove. And I love it. And it's amazing what you can do. Okay, there's a wood stove. Oh, if you have a wood stove, there's just a lot of value besides just heat in the wintertime. Boy, you can boil water, you can cook on it. Just a lot you can do. Okay? If you have a fireplace insert. Anyone have a fireplace insert? Yeah, and especially if you have one that has a little shelf that comes out, that can be very useful too, again, with the cooking and such. Okay? This is a former student of mine that, boy, he went down and bought a Lopi, and that's the one he put in his fireplace. Okay, this is nature's fuel. Jillions of tons, right around, look around, jillions of tons, maybe 1.5 billion, of wood is produced every year from the sun. And it's just laying in the forest. And, foresters really like to clean up that and to prevent that from building up. And I heat my home, for the most part, with wood. Okay? Now, this has been around a long time. These kerosene heaters are amazing. They can put out some BTUs. And you can actually, I don't know if you can, you could warm things up. You can certainly keep your coffee warm. They're pretty hot on top and such. If you have one of these and you've experienced, you want to start them outside, get them really hot before you bring them in to keep down the odor. There's a little odor with the burning of kerosene. But this, for the cost and the fuel cost, although fuel is going up, it is really an excellent backup. And that's what we recommended to these Texans, down there that hopefully won't have to go through what they went through. Okay? And so have plenty of fuel, all right? Extra wicks also is good for those. Have at least one of those. Now, the little propane heaters, you can get them everywhere. A D&B, I think, carries them. Bi-Mart, we saw Bi-Mart, they carry them. These are not to heat your house. This would be a little area, maybe where you choose, drop. Does it ever get 10 below here? Once in a while we get that 10 below where it really drops, and we'll talk about at the very end kind of camping out in a part of your house and with all the people and one little. This will help take that chill off, and or good for warming up a bathroom where you don't have any heat in your home, or that little back corner, or protecting some plumbing. So these are really something that you may want to have, and of course have the fuel for them. Okay, and these are the indoor. Pressure, it's the low pressure fittings that are made, and these devices that are made now are made for indoors. If they tip over, they automatically go off. If your oxygen levels in your house drop down to a certain level, they automatically shut off. They're very safe. I had one shut down. My grandkids and I were out playing games in a teepee during the winter, and we were outside, and all of a sudden the heater went off. I go, what's going on? Well, the oxygen level dropped down and just shut off so that we could continue to have life. And so they are very good products. Okay? Okay? And you get some real small ones too you can purchase that run on the little 1 pound canisters. Okay? Now, this is a while ago. Prices have gone up, almost doubled on these little 2-packs. But I took this picture in Walmart. I came back, and it was either the next day or a couple of days later, they're all gone. It's summertime, there's no event. I'm going, so I asked the guy, I said, what happened to all your propane, canisters? He says, I think they were Canadians, but somebody just came down, they bought them all. And they're just gone. And if you don't have it, you'll hear me say this over and over again, if you don't have it in your box and an emergency happens, don't plan on finding it. Stuff goes, and you know from experience, it just goes. And so have your 12 plus items, just keep it and know where it's at, and you're going to be good. Okay? Propane I recommend 4 of these. These are the 20 pounds. We found some 30 pounders in Bi-Mart. Was it Bi-Mart? Has 30 pounders. I think they're $65 for the 30 pounders. And you can get the cheapest way for propane, but initially, even the initial cost, I think of about $180, you can get a 100-pound tank. And I know a gentleman in our church, he has 2 of those that he has for emergency backup, just 200-pounders. He's got a family and a home, and boy, he's gone through some. I think you'll see a picture of him later when we had a big windstorm, and it uses that. So anyway, those are available all over town. Okay. I was impressed. That's a pretty good, stocked store, and they had a lot of the things that we're talking about, including.
Killing me, Vern.
I'm not Italian. Any Italians here? I mean, I'm a Norwegian. No, my wife's from Norwegian. I'm a Swede. I don't know if Swedes talk with their hands or not, but it's hard for me to communicate with my hands in my pocket. It's just hard to do that. Okay, but went through there today, and they have this kind of stuff, and it's great. Okay, cook stoves. During COVID, the cook stoves were gone. We're still getting supplies coming in Spokane, but boom, they just disappeared. And so people that are trying to get things checked off their list, when an emergency occurs, sometimes it's too late, okay? That is a good stove. My grandkids and I have gone camping for years. It's the Coleman Triton, and you might have to order it online. Walmart used to carry them. Now they get their own brand. But that is a good stove. Okay, very simple. Okay, and it's on your handout, I think. Okay? And you can cook indoors with these. You don't have to worry about this. And if you cook with a pressure cooker, you can really reduce the amount of propane you're using to cook with. How many cooked with pressure cooker? My mom used to cook all the time with it, and your mom used to cook with them. And you can get these, and people fear these. If you read the instructions, you don't need to worry. This is not a big deal. And but in an emergency, that becomes very valuable because fuel becomes valuable. Okay? And just put it right on your stove. It's just like natural gas. How many have a natural gas stove? This is propane. Propane is almost the same thing as natural gas. It's got 3 carbons instead of 1, and it's all the same. And if the flame is blue, it's just producing water and carbon dioxide. Just like our bodies, when you exhale, you produce water, and carbon dioxide is coming out, and you're producing heat. Very, very safe indoors. Okay? Now, if it's got a flame that is not blue, now it's improperly burning, and you're producing possibly monoxide, and that's not good. And maybe some soot and carbon and some other things from that. But as long as you got a blue flame, and when you're burning natural gas and good, clean propane, you do not have to worry about inside, unless you're in a little tight closet and it's going to use up the oxygen or something. Okay? And you can have one of these, all right? Cooking on a barbecue, it's a good backup emergency, but very inefficient. You burn a lot of fuel for what you're getting out of it. So don't depend on your barbecue. Get something clean and such, okay? All right? Now, cooking in a thermos. I've just started to do this. You get a thermos warm. Beans take a while, right? That's a lot of propane to use in an emergency to cook up your dry beans, because you want to store things that are going to last a long time. Dry beans, 100 years. If you got dry beans and you store it correctly, you don't need to worry if you have dry beans. In the can, it's going to start to turn a little bit. And so if you got dry, you got to cook them. Well, get your thermos warm, heat up, boil your beans for a period of time. Maybe you've soaked them overnight. Just put them in the thermos, seal it, put a little down vest around it or some towels, and just let it set. And that heat just starts to take apart, those molecules and that starch and that. And so a great way to save fuel is using a thermos, okay? Now, generators, just real quick on generators, very helpful. I have a generator. But the refrigeration and the clothes washing and recharging various batteries and different things is great. But I encourage people, don't depend on your generator. There's a lot of different kinds of them, and the combinations are the big ones now, where you can go propane or you can go gasoline and switch them back and forth, and that's a great option for a couple of reasons. But this is the one they're selling at Costco. For about $1,000, you can get one of these. Well, in Oregon, you don't pay tax, do you? So it'd be $1,000 for us in Washington. But these are pretty decent, okay? These are some of the reasons, just mechanically, they can break down on you. And if that's your total dependence, you can get yourself in a little trouble there. Okay? Pretty important to have fuel. And that is something I have found when I check back with people that have taken a course. They buy a lot of the gadgets and things, the batteries we already mentioned, but they'll be short on the fuel to be able to use the products that they have purchased. All right? Okay? Lots of kinds of fuel. And you may store some fuel that you're not going to use, or is a kind of fuel you don't need. Man, you can trade that in a hurry if we're out of power for a few weeks. Man, people they will pay to get some kerosene if that's what they need, or diesel fuel. Okay? And propane lasts forever. 1,000 years from now, propane's going to be propane. The containers will deteriorate, but the actual molecule, unless there's heat, you throw a match on them, it will deteriorate real quick. But the actual molecule of propane will last indefinitely. So if you have it in a container, just keep the container out of the rain, moisture, and stuff. And our fire marshal said you can store them inside. There's no law against bringing these into your garage and downstairs and into your home. Now, you're not going to burn it down there, but for storing, it's a pretty safe product. And if you smell it, then check it or get it outside. But no, it's a good product. Okay? And it takes energy to produce heat. And so when you store this food, say, okay, how much protein to cook this bucket of beans? How much protein to cook this bucket of rice? How much propane am I going to need to? And when you start getting the reality of this, you need energy. You need energy to be able to do that. Okay? Storing gasoline, use non-ethanol. we're kind of stuck with, you know, that ethanol, but it is not good for small engines, and many of you know that and have had some bad experience. And using a gas stabilizer, there's several products out there. I've been told they're even better than this one. And a couple of mechanics said just add a little bit of fuel injector cleaner to keep your systems clean too. And it also helps in the preserving the length. I believe you can store gasoline for 10 years. And I've got an experiment going, and I have some gasoline that every year I put a little bit from that container into my lawnmower, which is sensitive, starts right up. The key is keep it cool, and you do this with it. And one neighbor of mine, he's got, I forget how many of these buried on the north side of his house. He's got it down in the ground, kind of a pea gravel where it's clean, and he just keeps it there for that emergency. So you can store gasoline, but if it's hot and it's open to the air, and you don't have the stabilizers and things in it, you probably want to get rid of that within, 6 months, I would think, or maybe at least a year. You don't want to be using that in small engines. Okay. Don't we wish? This is less than 2 years ago. We are energy independent from the entire world. And we had all of our oil reserves full. And anyway, it's changed here just recently. Okay? Nice to be able to buy that. We now are dependent on foreign oil. How many are old enough to remember when we were dependent on foreign oil in the 70s? I got stuck in Portland. How long did it take us to get back? Because some of those folks don't like us. They can cut that off, and if you don't have any oil reserves, that's not a good thing, guys. And especially, you don't go to war without oil and products. So anyway, have at least some gasoline stored for those emergencies of getting around and getting products and connecting with maybe family that's in the area. You're probably not going to take long trips during an emergency, but just know that you've got to be careful of depending on it being available, because those of us that have gone through the pain of that understand. Okay? These are good containers. You can get them all over town. Walmart's got them. Bi-Mart's got them. I think D&B has them. And you can put gasoline in there and put it in your car, and there is no odor. They really seal down nicely. Good container, okay? Now, here's the best place to store your gasoline. Now, I don't know if anybody here runs your tank down to empty. There's some stories on that, but we don't want to tell. Keep it in your... Well, actually, I'm getting to the point where I keep it just... When it goes down a quarter, I want to get that thing filled back up. Just to make sure that I've got that available. And we're pretty good about keeping our gas tank, in the top half. Keep it full. So at least you've got that buffer, okay? So, energy devices, we've got the lights, battery, heat, cooking, fuel. Any quick questions on this section of the top, what is it, top four or five there on your list that we've covered? Anything? Okay, let's go on. We are going to take a little break here in a bit. And anytime, if you need to go to the restroom, whatever, you're not going to offend me a bit. Just get up and go. And a question now.
I was just curious about storage for gasoline in like steel drums, like the 50-gallon.
Yes. Now, if and I have known people that talked about burying where they have a little pump, keeping it cool in a cool area, and you can do it with gas stabilizers. And now I think in a lot of cities that's illegal, and I don't know what the county regulations here are and different things. And I'm not going to tell you to break the law, but there's some people who will have some extra like that, and it's been done, and I have not.
Is there any worry about like grounding your drums so that they don't have electrostatics build up?
Yeah, that's probably a smart, or keep it really full. You don't want air. See, the gasoline, you can put a match out in gasoline.
Right.
It's the fumes that you don't want to. And I've got a story or two on that, but we don't have time. Okay, anyway, you got to be careful. Gasoline is bad news, and it creeps. It's heavy, and it creeps on you. And you can see it. And man, whew. Okay, next. Water. Water we need water on a pretty daily basis. You can live a week, but you got to stay really inactive, and you better stay cool and relax. I've known people to live days without water, didn't choose to do that, but whatever. But if you're working and you are really sweating, you've got about 3 days, and you're in pretty bad shape if you don't have water coming in. And we guesstimate how much water we use. It's unbelievable. Okay? Okay? People panic. Unbelievable. What was this over? I think it was in Seattle. They thought there was going to be a little snow, a couple inches of snow. The water's gone, and a few other products just gone. Okay? I'm a history guy. I love reading, especially U.S. history and things. And I ran across this. I said, I'm going to put that in the lesson, because this is not only true of water, it's true of just about anything. You don't realize the value of health until you lose it, right? And it's anything, like the gasoline. When we pulled in the gas station and didn't have any gas, pulled in another gas station, they were out. And then this gas station had this long line, and they ran out before we got there. You don't realize how quickly that can happen. Literally, that could happen within days, no gas. And because it's coming in, you see it coming in to LeGrand every day. It's coming in. Okay? Okay, so water. How much water do you store? Okay, we've got, minimum. My minimum has changed. It used to be a gallon a day per person or whatever for a week or two, but the minimum is 100. The gal in Spokane, the head of preparedness thing, she says 200. I have 200, and then I have methods of catching it, and that's not very much water. I mean, 200 gallons. You got a couple of 55-gallon, drums and things, and we'll show you how you can do that. Okay. Turning to page 3 in your booklet, we're going to go through some specifics on water. Okay? Many different kind of containers. Water's free. I mean, you don't have to pay anything for water. I mean, and so you get good water, and many people get filtered water and such. But the container is the key, and you can get some containers for free. You can actually wash out and clean out things, and people throw containers away. And if it's a good food container, great. And I know that white bucket on the bottom, sometimes these restaurants, they have their pickles to come in these barrels and things. Actually, that little pickle taste actually is kind of good in your water. I like it. But I've got a lot of those buckets for free. So there's no reason why you shouldn't have some water. Okay? Have at least a couple with spigots, for convenience, maybe the laundry room or the bathroom. But there's some other things you can do in the bathroom that's easier, but at least have one of those. Okay? These big guys are 7 pounds, and you've got them in town. D&B had them. But man, I'm not as strong as I used to be. 7 gallons of water is something to get up there on the counter. And I would get 5 and less now for me, and just for the convenience of moving these. Okay? These are the ones at Walmart and several places in town. Okay? This is a guy, you see him behind there kind of peeking out. He's got a big family. He took my course. He went down to Walmart, bought everyone he had. He said, I'm not running out of water with my kids and the baby in diapers, this is some smaller containers. Now, this is a neighbor. And he says, Vern, why don't you come over? This is after he took the course. This is a 10-hour course. And he said, I want to show you my basement. And he brought me down there and he told me a story. He worked for the government, lived in Virginia. Isabel, the storm Isabel came through, major storm. They lost not only electricity, they lost water, they just lost everything. Newspapers never really reported the horror of what that was about. They talked about gas and they talked about food. And they never, and I don't know why they don't do this, except it's gross maybe, they don't talk about sanitation.
Yeah.
There was an apartment complex close to where he lived, 500 people in this apartment, including moms and babies in diapers. They had no water, no toilets working, nothing, no sanitary facilities in the area, and many of them didn't even have a shovel. And he says within days, it was absolutely unbelievable what happened in just hours, actually, after running out of water. And he says they were defecating in the halls. They absolutely did not know. They didn't have bags to put. They didn't know what to do. They're panicked. And that happened so quickly. And he says, I will never be without water. They drank all their fruit juices. They got the milk drank. And they couldn't get water. Now, a lot of times government will start bringing water in. You notice that's one of the first things they do. But when you have a major event, don't expect anybody to bring it. You can't. You want water. You want to have water. Okay? These conveniables, stackables, this is the company right here. You can order these online. Where did we find the white ones? It was our last store. Was it D&B has some, and they're in the white, but they're not the heavy-duty stackables, which cost a little more, but these are really decent. And you could probably check with them, and they could probably order them for you because they're dealing with the company. If you want 6 or 8 of these, and you actually can get little spigots for these for your sinks and things. That's what I have switched to. I got rid of some of those big ones, and I've got these little guys, and we'll give that away here in a minute. Okay, there they are. That's mine right there. I got 6 of them. Okay. Absolutely the best for storing water is glass. And boy, glass, for those of us that are a few years older, everything was in glass, and these are getting really hard to find, these gallon. And I have a friend of mine, I don't think he's a wino, but he has a lot of these, and he gives them to me. And you can get them once in a while in a thrift store. You can find these. These are worth money. 1,000 years from now, the water in there is absolutely perfectly fine. There's nothing. Water's totally oxidized. As long as you don't throw sugar and open up and let spores get in there. You put water in one of these, and I have about a dozen of them that I've just got free. And so we'll give that away. But look for those. And when you see them, garage sale, yard sales, anything, just grab them because just fruit jars, just fill them with water. Put the lid on, and you've got water. It's not going to deteriorate on you. Okay? Now, the common jug, I wouldn't use those. The thick plastic, yes. Thick plastic is pretty good. I mean, it'll last a while. Don't leave it on concrete because concrete has lye in it, and it will eat. I had a bad experience with that. They'll start to eat the plastic, and it'll start leaking on you within a few years. But glass is the way to go. Okay? And one of these in the bathroom for brushing your teeth, rinsing your hands, even putting a little water on a face cloth and sponge bathing. It's amazing what a gallon of water, if you know how to use it and function. And so I would recommend at least a dozen of these, in your home, even though you have lots of water other places. They're just nice. Okay? Cheap, inexpensive way to store water, and sometimes you can get buckets free. Just make sure that they're cleaned out. Okay? Now, let's go through these. We've got several things. These are wonderful little 4-ounce packets of water, great for medical kits. Sometimes people have a medical kit and they got to take some pills and they have no water. And you always want to have Some packets, I have a couple of these maybe in a glove compartment and such. And so let's see who gets our water packets. Our pilots in the Air Force, they fly with 4 of these in their vest.
Mary asked us.
Oh, Mary. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Good job, Mary. Okay, and next we have a 5-gallon water bucket. Okay. This is probably the easiest way, cheapest way, if you're buying something new, is just to get these buckets, and you can get these buckets just about anywhere, any paint store, just about anywhere you can get these buckets. Okay, let's see who's going to get the bucket. Okay, and this is Mark Barker? Baker. Mark Baker. All right. You must be a doctor. Yeah, I knew you were. I know. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my wife's a nurse, and she can tell you stories about that, right? And I wasn't gonna. I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm not supposed to point her out. She is a sweet lady, and unless I embarrass her. Okay. Why would I do that? Okay. Huh? Oh. Why would I do that?
We need to take a picture.
All right. Okay, who's got the...
That doesn't feel like mine.
Is that yours?
Nope, Hannah Stone.
Okay, where's Hannah?
Right here.
Oh, Hannah, okay. And what are you getting? Oh, you...
Water jug.
Oh, yeah, this is a really good deal. Yeah, all right. And you can get the little spigots
I will trade you.
at
I am
at D&B.
stocked on these right now.
Oh, you are? Okay. You want to? Oh, fantastic. Well, that was nice. And you can get the little spigots at D and B to go in those. Okay? And...
Water container.
this is the glass water. This one, right? I guess that's it. Okay.
Here you go, man. Feel for mine.
My own.
All right, man. All right, good. And that has been cleaned out. It's sterilized, cleaned out. You can just add water. All right. I think we got them all. Now, we don't have a water barrel for you, but water barrels, sometimes you have to order online. Costco, and I don't know if you can call them and order to your house or how all of that works, but they have a pretty good price, and they have the pumps and stuff. I have a water barrel down in my basement, and this is an easy way to store a lot of water. Okay? Next. Okay, this is Sportsman Warehouse. Do you have those? Okay. So, conserving and collecting water. This is page 2 in your handout, and we'll kind of go through. If your house loses water, what do you do? Okay, next. Turn your system off, so you're kind of separating it, and there's a lot of reasons why when you have damage and you're not sure what's going on, to kind of seal off so something not so good might possibly come in, depending on what, especially earthquakes and things. Boy, seal off your house, at least initially, till you know everything's okay. And then don't throw the water. The first water is going to be in the pipes, right? My grandson, we experimented on their house, 3-level house. They got 2.5 gallons just from their pipes. That is valuable water when it's not coming in. So don't waste that water down the drain in those situations, okay? And then get things set up and use your water sparingly, as though it may need to last for weeks, okay? Then go to your water heater. You usually have about 50 gallons in there, okay? Okay? And then turn off the power supply, whatever it is. And I have made that mistake with an electrical one once, and cost me money and a lot of time. So you want to make sure everything gets separated. If the electricity comes back on and you've got that thing emptied, you just want to always think ahead. What do I need to do here to protect my equipment? Okay? And it's really nice to have just a short hose to be able to get that into your containers that you're going to take to the areas of the house where you're going to be needing those. And so we want to give one of these away, I think is the next slide. Yeah, and and you can go into any, do you have Ace Hardware in town? Yeah. You go to Ace and they sell little pieces of hose, whatever length you want. I would say 2.5 to 3 feet usually works pretty good. Okay? Give another one. All right. And this is Kimberly. All right. Yeah, good job. And just keep it, right on your water here. I've used mine a couple of times. Very convenient. Okay, next. Setting up rain-catching devices. Okay. This is just a barrel I have, a good sturdy barrel that catches water from the roof. Great for washing things, whether it be washing dishes, washing clothing, washing your body, just washing. You could probably drink off it without dying, but it is an asphalt roof, right? And you got stuff up there. And if it's been pouring rain for a long time, probably it's pretty clean water coming off of there. But great wash water to catch quickly. Okay? For drinking water, if you got a new clean tarp, just lay it out. There's an incline there. This is my daughter in her place. Just an incline. It's amazing how much a 11 by 11 tarp will catch. And you just, funnel it down and you've got good cooking and good drinking water. Okay? Gathering groundwater, you always want to disinfect. Want to make sure the next slide just shows some of the different kinds of things that are common. And if any of you have ever got Giardia or any of these things, they're real. I mean, you can be pretty ill and you start losing a lot of water. Okay? Now, can you drink that water? No. Now, I'm a survival guy, and we're training pilots and guys that are flying all over the world, and we say, absolutely yes, you can. You can drink it. So how do you drink that water? Okay? Very simply, okay, next slide there. Here's my grandson who's in the Army, and he's over in Romania, yeah, with the UN forces, and he helped me with these courses. He actually would help teach some of this. And you, first of all, take this groundwater that's got stuff in it, and you just filter out the green stuff with good paper towels. You can do that. Or a white T-shirt. I said, Daniel, why don't you go upstairs and get a white T-shirt? So, man, he runs upstairs, so we can get a picture of a white T-shirt. He gets his sister's T-shirt. She was not real happy. Shoot. Okay. So anyway, you filter that out, and then you go ahead and boil it and disinfect, and it's fine. I mean, the water, unless there's chemicals in it. You always are cautious if you've got a swamp that it's out somewhere, you don't need to worry. You can drink the water, just, clean it up. Okay? So, 2 ways to disinfect. Boiling is the easiest, safest way in most cases, or add chemical disinfectants. And there's like a dozen. I mean, the British use some iodine thing. They're soldiers. It's a bright, purple thing. And the U.S. military uses iodine tablets. Boy, I've drank a lot of canteens of iodine, and lots of different things, like chlorine kinds of things. But the one that probably all of you have at home is bleach. And bleach is not the greatest thing in the world for you to ingest. But in an emergency, a couple of drops of bleach in there, it's going to kill everything. And then you can drink it. And so what we want to do, first of all, okay, boil is the best, okay? Okay, bleach, and number 8 box, we recommend having 4 of these 2-quart and just rotate them. And you don't want them to freeze. And I didn't know, most things if you freeze it doesn't hurt them, but bleach actually is affected. So don't freeze them. Put them in a place that's room temperature, and then date them and just rotate them. So you always have a good supply for sanitation. Many uses of bleach. Okay. 8 drops, and that's on the high side. A lot of manuals will say 4 drops per gallon. But if you use 8 drops, even if it's deteriorated a little bit because it's 10 years old or something, I think you're going to be good. Okay? And then the 2 squirts, go back, Tim. Okay, go back. Oh, yeah, right there. If you've got a 5-gallon bucket of water, just get as much in the eyedropper as you can, squirt it in there, get as much as you can, and squirt it in there. That's all you need. It's not a science. You just need a little bit in there, and boy, it kills germs very effectively. Okay? And I recommend having your eyedropper attached to it in your emergency area. When an emergency happens, and lights are gone, everything's gone, kids are hungry, oh my goodness, you're trying to figure out your neighbor's needing some help. You don't want to be, where did I put? Or did we ever get? We want, and I've tried to do this, have everything in one small area, except the fuel. The fuel might be separate, but everything kind of in one area, or boom, you go right to it. You know where it's at. You've got your flashlight within 10 seconds, and you know what you're doing. And if you're not sure, you go to the manual, and you look, okay, it's really cold, it's wintertime, and we'll cover that at the end. You know, this is what I do if I get 10 below 0, and I've lost all my services. Okay? So, we've got some fresh bleach. We've got the date on it. We got 8 drops. You've got your eyedropper on it. Who is going to?
Carla.
Oh, okay. Oh, Carla. Yes, I know Carla. Yeah, good job. And so just you only would need one of those with the eyedropper, and then have 4 and just keep rotating and get a system. All right. Next, we got, okay. So, boil and use bleach. And we have to keep this course really simple. There's some other ways you can actually do these kind of things. You go online, and there's a lot of ways of disinfecting, but these are the 2 practical ways for most of us. Okay? Now, have 2 boxes of your 3 mil. Those are the heavy-duty contractor bags that you can get anywhere. A lot of brands sell these. This is what Ace sells, and a couple times a year they actually have sales on these. And this is very, very valuable, and you will see why here in a minute. Okay? Saving toilet flush water. If it's raining, you can bring water in from your roof and put it in the container for your water and be able to flush. But it's a lot of work, and a lot of times you don't have that option of bringing water in from the outside easily. Okay, so take a bag, and these bags are about this big. Just take a razor blade and sip it in half, or maybe take the top third and just put it in your toilet. Okay? Before you do, go back, Tim, one more. Get the water out of your bowl and then stuff you don't want this to go down in the system and plug it up. But get a little towel, little hand towel will not go down. Stuff it in there and get it in there tight, because I had students in a class over the years tell me that when the system goes down, if there's anyone uphill from you when they flush, it's going to come in your house. because the pump systems and the blockage and whatever it is, and this woman says, you do not want that. Let me tell you, her bathroom just filled up with sewage from people above them. And so what people are saying, you do something to block that, and then you place your bag in there, okay? And you can use a bag for, actually some people, you could use it a week, that one bag, and mostly it's gonna be the feces that you're doing, but you put a little bit of bleach that's disinfected. Okay, the next picture I think we talk, no we don't, but you get, it's in your notes, about 1/5 bleach to 4/5 water. So it's got just a little bleach in it, and you put just a little bit on your waist. Kills all the smell, kills all the germs. So now it's safe. I mean, there's not going to be a problem with sanitation with this. Just close the bag, put the lid down, the next kid and whatever, and a bag, it depends on the family, but you know, it could go several days, one bag. You take that bag and you take it out and you put it in a closed container, and you could probably get 6 months in one closed container like that. That apartment, and if I was an apartment manager, I've actually told colleges, you know, in your dorms, you need to have plastic bags and bleach automatically in case that happens to your campus. And people just don't think about it until it happens, and then you've got a major problem. Okay? So, plastic bags. Who's gonna get the bags? Let's see. Okay, who's that?
Sandy Stone.
Sandy. Oh, Sandy, all right. Let's see. Sandy, I'm going to just send them right here for you. Okay, you got it. Okay. Yeah, now paper plates. I've just added this here recently. Boy, does that save water. And if the water's not coming in, boy, we use a lot of water for sanitation and keeping things clean. And so, and boy, if you ever get down somewhere where you can go to Costco, they've got these stacks of 200 of these really inexpensively. And the best ones are the ones that have the little sheen. I think the next picture shows this. They have this, you know, kind of a waxy coat where you can actually wipe them off with a paper towel. Use a plate per person for the whole day, and or just it just is going to save a lot of dishwashing and using up, you know, wash water. Okay, so we have various items that we want to have in our emergency. The tarps would be maybe buy 1 or 2 clean tarps for collecting rainwater. Okay. All right, let's take a 10-minute break. And so I've got, we'll pick up at 4 o'clock. How's that sound? Yeah. And I think there might be coffee back there or water or whatever. And if you have any questions, you know, I'm available.
We gotta go.
Good, you? How you doing? Good. Hello? Good, you?
Jim, sure. And he took this course, class when we did it. I'm giving you fits under. I knew it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he just turned it on. I think it's working. Is it working? Okay.
You're on.
Yeah, this is good. You know, it's possible almost everybody's going to get a prize. We only got about, I think everybody's going to get something. This is good. All right. Who we got here? Okay. Sandy, you want your name back in there?
Doesn't Vern? She's Vern.
Oh, she's got, yeah. That's her.
Vern. Ask if everybody put their name in.
Oh, did everybody put your name in? Oh, good. Oh, one time. Okay. Oh, that's good. All right. We're all set? Okay. Next slide.
He's not paying attention.
Okay. All right. We're set. Oh, this is the website, and it's on the cover, and there are YouTubes on all of this, you know, how to do the toilet thing, all that stuff there, and there's also some National Geographic. There's just a lot of stuff on that website that you can utilize, and all the different topics, a lot of things that we don't even do in class that's on that website if you want it. And it looks like the first page of the website. Okay. That's what it looks like. And you can go to more, and that's where you can find a lot of visual kind of things. Okay? Food. Oh, man. What would life be without food? Think about it. If we didn't have any food and they just fed us through our veins, the joy of life. Yeah, it's even fellowship, even connecting with human beings around food. You can take an enemy and you feed them, and suddenly there's something starts to happen. It just, in fact, I think Jesus said that somewhere there. You know, feed your enemy if he's hungry. What does it do? You know. Okay. So we are number 10, and we're going to talk about 3 specific areas, actually maybe 4. Okay. This is Solomon. No, it isn't Solomon. It's the very end of Proverbs, and it's another king that talks about the ants. And you've all seen this, have you? They got the little larvae, they're just running these little things in the hole and for the queen and stuff. And you know, that all just came about by accident. Did you know that? You know, in the universe, mindless universe, that these little ants just kind of picked this up. You know, I don't know how that happened exactly, but okay. I am joking. Okay, I don't know all of you. Let's see. We've got some kids living in my basement, and I have that kind of humor where I say, "Oh, you don't want this, got sugar in it," kind of thing, and they look at me like I'm joking, but they're learning slowly. How many of your parents? How many of you can? Oh. I was from a canning family. My wife was from a canning. They were farm families. And they would never go into winter. Never even, it wasn't part of the thought without having your food. You just do that. And there wasn't a dependence. You go into a city. Do you know what the average is? 2 different studies have been done. I didn't believe it the first time I heard it. The average household in America has how much food in their dwelling, in their box?
1 week.
Yeah, it's 3 days. 3 days. Some dry cereal, maybe a couple of things, a couple of cans in their cupboard. They're bringing home food in cardboard every night, or they're stopping somewhere, or they're throwing together. It is because of the apartments mostly and the big cities. We become an urban society now, and we just think it's always going to be there. It's right down, just a couple floors down on the main street, and I can get this and that. And that's how we're living today, and it's all being supplied, and this is not happening. Okay, next picture. That's the house on Stanley that my family grew up in, and it's a barn now. They've kind of you can hardly recognize it. It's set back from the road a ways, but it's still there, and they had no electricity. and they had no running water in that house. And there were 6 of them, okay? It's that just-in-time inventory now. All that scanning, and then they order, and those trucks are coming in by the hundreds of trucks a day, bringing tons and tons of food to Spokane to feed us and you guys. And it all is interdependent on satellites and systems that literally in seconds could go away. And no more ordering, and the shelves are empty. That is a real potential, and many people who understand it tell me how concerned they are, and they've convinced me that that could go away so quick. Okay, so you don't want to run out of food. Next. Okay? And literally in hours, and some of these pictures I got where it was not a major event. It was just the fear of maybe this happening. Okay? This is a store close to me. It just closed in a windstorm. All around, close, close, close. And having just 3 days. Okay? And the pain of having kids in pain, kids crying, and not having anything available, and the neighbors in the same condition, same situation. Okay? So always have your own food. Next, invest in food. This now is an investment. My pantry is making me a lot more money than my savings account. I mean, like huge amounts of money. And you all know this. I mean, I don't have to tell you what's happened in 18 months. And I thought of doing this. I didn't bring a scissor, but here's a dollar bill. You're not supposed to deface a dollar bill. This spending, the value of this, and we'll talk about money here in a little bit, that happened in 18 months. And that's happened to that $1,000 you have in your checking account. And that with gasoline and building products and on. And that, some are believing real soon it's going to be that. So when you buy food, and you buy bulk food, and you buy what I'm telling you to buy, you're going to save hundreds of dollars. It is absolutely probably the best investment I have right now is my food pantry. Okay, and next. I don't get passionate about this at all, but maybe later. Okay, next, at least 3 months, and that would be minimum. An event could last that long. Okay. Page 5, emergency food storage, and this is your kind of the basic checklist. We're going to be jumping back and forth between 2 of the handouts, but almost all the things I'm going to be telling you are going to be in your notes that you can refer back to. Okay? First, stock your pantry. Keep it stocked, and we do a rotation system, which we'll talk about, and boy, it's just nice to have it and not have to run to the store every time you want to, eat. Okay? 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 This is my pantry, actually, and I built that. And it really didn't take much to build that, okay? Glass. If you can get any foods in glass, glass is your best way to go. It's hard to find glass and a lot of things, but glass is good, okay? And stock your refrigerator. And now, in the refrigerator, 2 things I recommend is canned meats, especially those high in salt, will last, you can get ham to last 20 years. If it's highly salted, if you keep it cool. And this will make more sense as time goes on. But having this Costco is great for that, if you ever, get there. Okay? Okay, let's see, other way. Also, cooking oil. Cooking oil will last a long time if you don't open it and you keep it cool. It could last, I wouldn't be surprised, easily 10 years. On the label, it'll give you 18 months or whatever. If you open it and it's warm, yeah, it's going to deteriorate. But if you keep it cold, and I've got, olive oil in there and various things, okay. Okay. And if you've got a freezer, stock it. That was elk in that one refrigerator. Okay. Okay, handout, page 4. Page 4. Okay. Kinds of food to store. First of all, first one, foods you like to eat and the kids like to eat. There are kids that actually almost starved because they didn't like the food. And we have the mindset that, well, they'll eat it if they get hungry enough. No, that's not true with all kids. And how many know what I'm talking about? How many of you are 45-year-old kid and you're not going to eat it no matter what? I'm going to die before you. You want foods that you know your family is going to eat because you don't want to be dealing with. Okay, second, you want the long shelf life. You want to store things that haven't go bad. You figure out where you do not lose food. Okay? High in calories and nutrition. And for most of us, we're always thinking lower calories most of the time, right? In this case, you're thinking just the opposite. I want calories because I don't know how long before those shipments start coming back into this county. Okay? And minimal cooking time, that saves the propane. In some cases, it's not as easy. The case of beans is probably the longest cooking time, I think, of most of our foods. But again, you've got thermoses, you've got ways you can do this. And if you've got a wood stove, you don't worry. But if you're just going on the propane, you want to calculate that. Okay? Great. Okay? So, we're going to rotate first in, first out rule with everything you have. Date things and just keep that moving. Okay? Second. Seal, mainly for animals. You know, the mice and various kinds of insects. Okay? Now, 5-gallon buckets, page 5, the minimum we recommend would be 6 of these with dry foods. And we want foods that have a long shelf life, I would say like 20 plus years. Things that you know you can survive on. This is your base food of just having energy and rebuilding your proteins of your body that you're losing. So that's what's going to be in here. Okay? 6 of those. Next. Okay? Food grade. Most buckets you buy are going to be number 2s. And I went over to the paint store, Benjamin Moore, number 2s. Everywhere you look, there'll be a little number 2 somewhere, usually on the bottom. And that's a real hard plastic. It doesn't deteriorate. It's not going to, poison your food or your water or whatever. And so I don't know if you can buy a number, whatever the numbers you don't want are. I mean, you just can't find them anymore. And that's good. So your buckets, anywhere they sell paint, anywhere in town they sell paint, Walmart, everywhere we look they had buckets. Sometimes it's harder to find the lids. I don't know if you've noticed that, and I do not know. The manufacturers, they'll get them and they're gone. And I actually found some lids today, and I bought 2 of them because Spokane's out of them. Let's see, which one? I got it in the car. I bought 2 lids up here because it's just hard to find lids. So when you see lids, get a couple extras. But the buckets are easy to find. All right? Again, anywhere, Ace, Bi-Mart had plenty. D&B had all varieties of lids. That's where I bought a couple extras. Okay? Now, here is a principle of the storage. You want dry and you want whole, not always, but generally speaking, for your long term, you want the whole seed. If you know anything about food, there's a food we call roughage, and it's cellulose is the name of the molecule. It's made of sugar, but it's made in such a way we can't digest it. Now, animals can, like deer and elk and moose, can eat the grass and digest it, get the sugar out. We can eat grass that's come out of our ears, we can't get the sugar out. It's a coating that seals in all the nutrients, and if you're buying whole seeds, you might have 2,000 years shelf life. How many heard of the pyramids? They had grain up in the pyramid. More than that, it was what, 3,000 years, that grain was still edible. So if you have it in a protected area, you protect it, you keep it cool, and you have a whole grain, then you just don't worry about it. And you hope never in your lifetime you ever have to open, let's say, those few buckets. That is pretty inexpensive insurance that you're going to stay alive. Now, you can have other things in your pantry and all kinds of, you have different parts of your storage, but that would be the long-term emergency. Okay, let's look at them. Whole grains, any kind. Wheat, inexpensive, many things you can use wheat for. Americans, we make bread and pasta. That's our wheat, typically. But many countries, they cook it up just like rice. Or they have cereal. They have a wheat cereal. They just cook up and they put sugar and half on there. And they eat it as a cereal. You can roast it and make a real nice snack for kids. And of course, you can grind it and make flour. Wheat, you might even know a wheat farmer that'll give you some buckets, and it may have a few little bugs that are dead in there. Shoot, that's protein. Don't worry about it. Just you scoop up some of that grain. That would be 1 bucket, at least, of wheat. That's going to last a long time. All right?
Can we make pie?
Yes, from the flour, and that's from wheat. Tim likes pie. We had pie last night, didn't we? And he was a happy trooper. Yeah. And you made points. We're staying with Deb and Tim. And Tim's a pie guy. In fact, he only likes 2 kinds of pie, though. I found this out. There are only 2. He's pretty picky on his pies. He likes cold pie and warm pie. So that's it. All right. Okay, whole beans. That is years and years of shelf life if you store it. Okay? Lentils. Oh, some great lentil recipes. How many cook with lentils? Man, there's some good stuff, okay? Peas. Peas, okay? Now, having a variety, we have a Winco, and I think there's Wincos down in Boise and around, but Winco is pretty expensive, but you can just go to, I went to Safeways looking at their prices, Walmart. I would get these bags of different kinds of beans and things. Walmart is the cheapest price I found in the little bit we went around La Grande today. A couple pounds of these, that is a lot of food. And you just start, just getting sacks. Here is, this, of course, is your pasta, your elbow macaroni, popcorn. Boy, is that a great comfort food. Whole seeds. What else do we have here? Oh, man, yeah. Pinto beans. Here is small beans are going to cook faster. So the bigger lima beans, which you all love, lima beans, just get the little small white bean, the smaller ones, you're saving petroleum, you're saving fuel on that. Okay, here's some white. Here's some peas. Here's some barley. Oh, here's some black. And if you're doing the pasta, get the smaller pasta like angel hair, half the propane to cook these up versus the bigger, and it's really the same stuff. But just always be thinking of the total picture in this emergency. Okay. So, and you can literally, buy your bucket in a store, go down the aisle, and just fill your bucket, take it to the checkout stand. You could do that the hour after this class is over, and that is thousands and thousands of calories of food for later. There's no, it doesn't take a lot of time and energy to do that. Pastas. With the pasta, I would go with the more dense pastas. Elbow macaroni is pretty dense, and you can actually look at the pound and compare. If you get noodles that have a lot of air in between, you're not getting as much for your bucks as far as storage. So think of how much can I get in here. You can, if you store this right, you can get up to 30 pounds of totally dry food. And boy, when you add water to that, that's a month or two possibly of base food for your family. Okay? So we're gonna give this away here in a minute. Do we do it right now? What do we have? Next slide. Yes. Okay. Who is gonna get this bucket of? It's not full. You're gonna have to add a few more things to it. Oh, I thought that was a step. Did you see that? That is called an attention step. Some of you are going to sleep, and I wanted to wake you up. Okay? Oh, jeez. Ah. Who is it? Oh, you are good. Oh, I put it back in. Oh, shoot. Can you find? I put it back in there. Can you find it? Okay. Yeah, you know, what it looks like when you're not looking at it, it looks like the step is out here, and I'm really pretty coordinated most of the time. Okay, there you go. All right.
You want that?
Yeah, good. Okay. Step up. Oh, whoop, here's some popcorn.
Oh, she loves it.
Oh, yeah. Popcorn, you can get popcorn in 25-pound sacks, really reasonable. And boy, that's good trade food, too. If things go down and your neighbors and you're trying to, keep going on that. Okay, next. Pasta, same thing. You want pasta that's dense. Okay, now this is Winco, and I don't know where your closest Winco is, but they do sell sacks. And you can order sacks online too, these various products. Boy, they've been going up though. Every time I go in, it just... Okay. Yes?
For here, where you can buy those 25 to 50-pound bags, you
Oh,
can
tell
buy
me.
them from Nature's Pantry, because they buy them as your standard.
Oh,
And you can get them from Kaufman's Market.
good. Everybody get that? That's good. I figured you had somewhere. I just hadn't found it. Good, thank you. And I would not hesitate on this or stall out. You'll save a couple percent if you wait a month. I mean, it is going up that fast. Now, put your recipes for those foods. In the split pea, maybe you have a whole deal of split pea, or maybe you have a few bags of split pea in there. Put your split pea recipes in there. Usually on the bags, they actually have a recipe for something, which is good. You've already got those. Put those additional ones. The younger generation, for the most part, do not have hard copy of recipes. And I'm just thinking of my own family. The younger, they think they're going to have this available, and they can just look up the recipe or get new recipes. Are we okay? I'm hearing some funny sounds. But have hard copies of your recipes. Okay? Okay. Yes, and this is one of my daughters. She keeps it in a crawl space under her house and stays cool year-round, and she's got her olive oil in there. You need oil to cook your popcorn if you don't have a microwave kind of thing, right? And so she's got that sealed together, and it's very cold right now, and it will stay cool, and that olive oil probably would be fine in 10 years in the location where it was stored. All right? Now, do complementary foods. If you've got oatmeal, what do you want with it? You want maybe brown sugar, some powdered milk, and you've got that all in the bucket. Again, in a panic situation where things are going crazy, you don't want to be looking for stuff or trying to find stuff or wish you had bought other things. Keep it together so that the kids will have breakfast. Get the day started quick. It's right there. Okay, now we're going to do this. We have some light brown sugar. This is the Mormon Dry Milk I purchased. It has a 20-year shelf life. This was $8 when I compared it to Walmart that was $14. I mean, it's worth the trip. Make your list. Go somewhere where you have several of these stores where the food is really cheap. Maybe come together as a church. Maybe somebody's got a pickup and a couple of people go down and they get it for the whole group. We've got several people in our church that have done that together just to save money. So yeah, this was like $8. And this has, let's see, how many servings? I can't read in a hurry here, but anyway, that's a lot of powdered milk. So we're going to put that together with our oatmeal. Now, two 25-pound sacks of oatmeal will fill 3 buckets and have a little room on top. And if that is, oatmeal is one of your best emergency foods. It's got protein in it, the whole protein. You don't have to, eat with other things like beans and rice have to go together to get the full complement of the stuff. This has, your starch, your energy. It's got vitamins. If you store it correctly, it's going to last a while. Keep it cool. And what I would do, and we're not going to seal the lid down, whoever gets this, you probably want to throw some oxygen absorbers into the bucket to get rid of that oxygen. Ooh, that's dangerous. We did it. Oh, no. We lost a couple. Just kidding. My wife's a nurse, and I can't get away with that when she's around. Okay. And you just put your complementaries in there, and my sugar. Okay. And our lid. And do put some oxygen absorbers in there. Now this is a nailed down lid that you got to cut and zip and then use the pry on it. I mean, this is a really good kind of long-term sealing lid. And I'm just going to leave it loose on there. All right, who gets the oatmeal? How many like oatmeal? I have oatmeal almost every morning. Probably five times a week I have oatmeal. And they say it really sticks to you. It really lasts a while. Oh, there's different ways of sticking. Yeah, that's... Okay, now where's our can? Boy, we're down to, I think, 5 people. Mark? Oh, okay, good job. You like oatmeal? Yes. All right, good. But hey, the way to go, guys, what I would do if I would buy 2 sacks and 3 buckets. And then eat out of one. And eat out of one, and then when that's empty, I mean, so you're kind of even rotating it. And that is a good food. All right, next. Okay, sealing the buckets. All right? The common lid, that's what you would get at Walmart. That's a couple I bought there at the farm store. And then this is the one that's on this one that you nail it down, that seals, and you have to snip it loose, okay? And then this little device here will give away to somebody. That is very good to work on various kinds of lids that are hard to get off, okay? And then you have these lids that are the twist tops. And so for everyday types of foods that you're storing bulk in to save money, just use these. And they're great for dog food and all kinds of things. How many have ever used these little twist lids? They're good. And you can get them, where did we find them? We found them everywhere. Walmart? Did we sell them? No, not
D&B.
B&B had them. And D&B had them.
By Mark.
And I think I found them one other place. But anyway, they're different brands. This is the Gamma Lid is the ones I think we found here in La Grande. Okay, so there they are. And they've gone up in price a little bit. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to draw.
Barbara.
Well, all right. You wanted this too. I can see it on your face.
I was gonna have to.
No. All right. And some people, all 6 of theirs, they'll have even different colors, and you can kind of match the color with the food, green for your split peas or whatever. Okay. Now, keeping cool. A major principle, and we've been saying that all along. Heat is just movement, right? The faster the molecules move, the faster they denature and break off and get oxidized and vitamins disappear and all that kind of stuff. So if you keep the molecules moving slow, they can last many, many decades in some cases, okay? Now, here is a government study on the temperatures and things. And so at 102, the shelf life was only 1 year. Okay, we're getting some. Are we okay? Is it me? Okay, drop it 10 degrees and you double the shelf life. And so just a rule of thumb, every 10 degrees you drop your temperature, you double shelf life. And then once you get frozen, it stays about the same or you get really cold. So the labels will give you these life expectancy or shelf life, or they say best if, which means you can go like 10 times longer in some cases. That's not true with oil. Oil tends to deteriorate. Peanuts has oil in it. Some things that have oil in it tend to go downhill pretty quick. But most of your dry foods have a long shelf life. I saw shelf life on salt. Salt is a jillion years. It doesn't deteriorate, and they got a shelf life on it. So don't always go by the shelf life. I kind of understand the principle of it. So if I've got, let's say, a 4-year shelf life or a 3-year shelf life on my sardines, Norwegian, Swedes, get the sardines, and it's in oil, and it says, if I keep that 10 degrees cooler, I will double what they say, plus actually I can go further than that. So just keep your stuff cool. Keep your pantry cool. I'll even open up my pantry and sometimes at night and open the window and kind of, keep it just cooler than normal. Okay. So these are based on 75 degrees, so you go to 65, then your temperature double. And you go to 55, double that. Okay. Keep dry. Moisture, water really corrodes or causes chemical change. And so you just want to keep that water out. Okay? And to keep the oxygen out. Oxygen oxidizes. It connects and pulls atoms loose or elements loose from the big molecule, like in your vitamins and your proteins. So that's why we want to use oxygen absorbers or dry ice. Dry ice is nothing but frozen carbon dioxide at 200 degrees below. I don't know what it is, but it's really cold if you buy the dry ice. And so I can take a little bit of dry ice. We'll show you this on the next slide here. Here's the packets, and we're going to give some packets away. It's about 5 packets per bucket. I typically put a couple down at the bottom, one in the middle, a couple on top, so that these are distributed. They absorb the oxygen around the beans, and it just adds more shelf life. Okay, and I think we're going to give this away right now. And we have our can. Okay.
Here in front.
Oh, yes, okay. All right, good job. And there are 50 in there, so you could get almost all your buckets, get all your stuff out, pour a little bit from each sack, throw a couple in there, add a little more, put another one in, add a little more, put a couple on top, seal them. And you're set. That really does improve the quality of your food over a period of time. Okay, next. Dry ice. Dry ice, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is heavier than air, the nitrogen and oxygen in the air, and it just very quickly will evaporate. So there's some oatmeal. Put a little bit of oatmeal on the bottom so you don't crack the plastic container. Put the dry ice in, fill the container with what you want, and then just set the lid on. Don't nail it down because it'll blow up. I mean, because this gas is starting to build up pressure, and so you just set it on there. It's heavier than air, so it forces everything out. Maybe overnight. You put the dry ice in there, put the lid on, next morning just nail it down. And you have no oxygen. It's really a great way to preserve food. Okay? And then you can date it if you want. What I did in 13, shoot, in 33 will be fine. And most places, a lot of places, do you know places that sell dry ice? And
Ace Hardware.
Ace, oh, okay, good. Now here's a guy, he did all of his the same day. My buddy Jeff. Here's another guy. He just labeled his deals, okay? Now, this is clever. One of my neighbors, they just cut off the sack, the label, and just, scotch taped it right on their bucket. Now, this gentleman retired from the military. He was a chief master sergeant, and he worked with the brigadier general in charge of the, Anyway, he was up there. And they went somewhere, either Texas or Washington, D.C. for a briefing. He came back and he said, Vern, I do not have enough food. And he did not tell me what the briefing was about. But he said, I don't have enough food. I don't have time. I'll pay you to get me more food. And he already was a prepper. And we spent, at that time, under $300 with the containers and everything. Now that would be another 100 on top of that today. But boy, he's serious because of something. And so that's what you put together. All right? Canned meats. If you've got canned meats, go with as much sodium as possible. Totally against our thinking sometimes. But then you can bury it. To keep it cool in the ground, bury it in a shaded area, and just stick it down in the ground and cover it over. And that will last for years if it's unopened. And okay. Purchase number 10 tin cans, yes. And I'm saying for a start, 24 of these, which is about 4 cases, right? Freeze-dried, they freeze-dried everything. We saw ice cream today, didn't we? Freeze-dried ice cream. It's a little powder. Kids love it. They put it on their cereal. And anything can be freeze-dried. And you put all the moisture out, and it goes into a condition, if it stays dry, will last many, many, many years. You can purchase these various things. Here's some of them that are available. Flour in just the sack setting has a shelf life of several years, and then it will slowly go on you. But if you get it in the can 40 years from now, it'll be a long time, that will be available. Potato flakes, I think we're going to give some of that away here in a minute. We got some potato flakes, these are shreds. Carrots, you can get real meats. And there's usually about $50 a can for, let's say, hamburger. But when you actually look at buying the raw meat, the regular meat, it isn't that much different. And you think, well, boy, there's not very much meat in there. Yeah, there is. All the moisture's been taken out. And you've got a lot of spaghetti sauces, a lot of things can be made from that can for $50. All right? This is the Mormon store area. Spokane. And I think the next picture, check the next picture. I think I took it out. No, I did. When COVID hit, people panicked. They're still manufacturing, they're still shipping, but people panicked and it just went empty. They had some sacks of wheat, had some hot chocolate left, and a few things. I mean, they had this huge store. It was just gone, cleaned out. You can store these. Oh, there it is. That is that same place. I'm standing in the door. I wasn't supposed to. I don't think I was supposed to be taking pictures. So the guy wasn't looking. So I grabbed a quick picture. I mean, this stuff disappeared, and they yeah, good preference. Okay, stores that sell. All right, next. Walmart's pretty good. They do have cans of these products. It was pretty picked over, but they still had some powdered tomato sauce, and they had several things still in there. There wasn't a lot left. You can tell people are really buying this stuff. But Walmart does. Get this. And this is what it normally looks like. The next picture is, now your Walmart doesn't look that bad. That was my Walmart. And but Walmart also has a lot of the beans and the rice and things. And I found that it's the best price I could find it was better, I think, than Bi-Mart. I know it was better than Safeway's. And so just go in there and just grab your things and use them. Winco is very good, okay? Good prices, and they do sell the sacks, okay? And this was with the thought that we were going to have a bigger event with that virus than we did. Just gone. Within days, it was just gone. This was Costco. Normally, good place to buy rice. Rice in your town right now, the cheapest I found was Walmart in 20-pound sacks, and it was like $8 for 20 pounds. 8 something, I think, for 20 pounds. That's pretty good price. So you get a couple of those. Yeah, 2 of those would probably fill, 1 bucket. And that's what it looked like within days. All this stuff, the pancake flour, all that stuff, it just gone. And now remember, guys, trucks are still coming in. We really don't have a shortage. This is, if we really had a shortage, then it's not going to be coming back. Okay? Next. Here's, keep it cool, okay? These are different people that send me pictures of their storage. This is down under a house. People will say, I don't have room. You got room for a lot of other stuff, right? This is more valuable than a lot of the other stuff. You can find a place. There's this poor lady up on 5 Mile. I mean, she really did not have much. She had kids. And she says, what do I do? She says, I don't have any basement and stuff. And she got back to me, and she figured out how to have food for her kids if things go bad. And I can't remember if she had hooks in them. She hung them from the ceiling or something. But she came up. She wanted food for those kids when the lights went out. Okay? And in the closet. The back of the closet. Okay? Now, you got shoes on. Oh, Sylvia, that's not very sanitary. But you can figure out, under a queen-size bed, we did the math on it. If you just got cases of this stuff, you get 96 cans under 1 queen-size bed. Some Mormons told me that's where their storage is. The kids have all of their food under their little twin, and mom and dad have, and much of their food supply for a year is literally, you don't even know it's there. It's under the bed. Okay, essential for life in more than one way. Yes, very few things in life are really important. And this is a picture in a scrapbook my mom made during the war. I was born during the Second World War. and she had made this probably Dust Bowl, pictures and things. And my dog got a hold of it and ripped it up, and I salvaged it. On the left side, you can see some praying hands. It's a grandma over here, and then the parents are over here, and these people are around. And when you think about what's really important, it comes down to physically, you need to have some shelter and food. I mean, we've got to physically have that to come in. But going back to that, is that we have each other. And that relationship with God and with each other, there are poor people. These people are like millionaires compared to some people who have a lot of money that live in the South Hill of Spokane, that their families are totally a mess. They honestly, if you sat them down and they would trade if they could to get the wife back, it's the relationships that God gives us that makes a difference. And I never forget, as a little kid, that impacted me. And I go, I got to show that to people. They don't have much, but they got what's important. Okay. Next. So you want to share, yes. Share with neighbors. Put food away that in your thinking is not for me and my family, but for those around me that are hurting. Okay? And I ran across this. I've got a neighbor from Kenya. It's supposed to be up. But I have a Kenyan that lives down the street, and he's black. He's not brown. This guy, he is black. His name is David. He's a wonderful, godly man. He's American now, and he came from a poor village. And you can just see Jesus saying that, can't you? Wow. And so I said, I'm going to put some food away, and I will starve before that food gets taken. I got some food put away that I said, this is for others. And if somebody comes to my door, I'm not going to shoot them. I'm going to say, okay, sit down, how many, and just put together. No, it's not going to, I can't feed the world. I can't feed, but I can help that widow or that little family down the street that doesn't have a lot, and they've got some kids. And so in your food storage, think, how can I be Jesus to the world that's hurting? Because I think we're going to see an event, and I think it's going to be really ugly. That's the time Jesus shows up, through us, his body. Okay, number 11, 4-band radio. That's a good one. Many of your preppers use that. You can use solar, you got a crank, you got batteries, and the number is on your handout. So if you want to order, they're under $100, but they are really good. You can even, the ionosphere is right, you can bounce and get Japan, you can get China. It's amazing what you can do if you add a little wire to your antenna and run it up. Okay? Protect your radio from EMP, the solar flares or the weaponry that screws up all of your electronics. And just keep it in the box and wrap it with aluminum foil several times so that electromagnetism goes around and doesn't screw up your radio or your walkie-talkies or your cell phone you have stored or whatever you have electronic. Okay? And you can take, I have a little 2-way radios, put them in a sock, wrap them in tin foil. A best Faraday case to protect is just a metal garbage can. But you need to use that aluminum foil tape they use in heating and air conditioning and seal up the little openings and make sure the lid really is snug on that thing. If it's not snug, put some aluminum foil around the top to give a little more space and then just make sure it's down. That will protect your stuff inside as long as it's not touching the metal. You don't want, the light bulb touching the metal in there. Okay? So, use maybe 3 contractor bags in there and then put all the stuff in that. That keeps it away from the metal or cardboard or, real thick cloth material in there. And then label what you have in there. And the LED lights will not work. If you have LED lights, which most of you have, your whole house is LED now, right? None of that's going to work if we get an EMP. That they're very sensitive to that type of thing. And if it's he was a scientist. This guy was, he understood this. He says, all your LED stuff, anything LED, is not going to work if we had a, boom, one of those EMP things. And so put a few, 100 watt, 60 watt, 40 watt in there to replace the ones that have burned out. How many have read that little book called 1 Second After? That really woke me up. This is written by a weapons expert who was up for general. His wife got breast cancer, and he decided to write on the little town that his wife, and he actually is a college professor, actually loves the Lord as a follower, and he wrote a book to give people an idea of what we have in our world today and what can happen and why we should, prepare ahead of time. But you can get that anywhere. It was a bestseller for several years. Now, the last on the list is the air horn. And the air horn, this is a valuable, it's probably the least expensive of anything that we have on the list. And you can get them just about anywhere you have marine supplies. Okay, now I didn't aim that at you, but I tell you, a policeman said that is a weapon. If somebody, whether they're in your yard or they come in your house and you hit them with, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. It hurts, and they're dysfunctional. And sometimes you can follow their trail. This is really a great. A lot of single gals say, man, I want one for my dorm room, I want one this, I want this. And these are just a valuable tool. And if you set your neighborhood up or the farmer next to you saying, hey, if you hear 2 shorts and 2 shorts, this is what it means. You hear 1 long blast and then 1 long. So you can actually have 4 or 5 little things where you can communicate in an area where neighbors are not very close. Many, many valuable uses. Sophie and I have one right next to our bed, and it's been there for years. I've had it in my hand several times. I've never used it. But I thought somebody was in my backyard. I just thought, checking it out, and I haven't used it. But that is valuable. Now, who's going to get that? Okay. What do we got here? This is Jason Stone. All right.
He has a new toy.
I was just gonna say, you're not allowed to do it around Santa.
Do you have a boat?
I highly doubt it.
These are good that, people have recommended that. All right, good job.
I got an idea you attach to your motorcycle.
Oh, wait a minute. Jell-O. Anything with sugar in it is a preservative. And Jell-O is something that you want to store with the sugar, not artificial. You want the calories. But this is a great comfort food for kids. Great and long shelf life. And that's supposed to be in your...
How much that stuff's gone up?
Oh yeah.
Man.
Unbelievable. And it's, yeah. Okay. And we also have this little pry deal. You want to, what do you, lid opener.
The Glinda.
Oh, right. Good job. Okay. All right, boy, we're down to, what do we got? We got 2 people are not going to get anything. I'm going to feel bad. Okay, let's see, who do we have for, we've got potato shreds that are dehydrated, will last for years, and that is Kevin. Is it Keaton? No, who is that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just checking to see if you knew your name. Those are really good. They have a good shelf life. Check it. I think it's like 20 years. And okay, we got another one. This is macaroni.
Daryl.
Daryl.
Unopened
All right.
product stays fresh up to 25 years.
Oh, 25. Oh, and now, you keep that at 65, you just double that.
I'm not gonna live that.
No, I know, I'm not either. But I'm just saying, those are good. All right. Now, we're getting close.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Oh, that's my bit stand right there, and that's my alarm clock I wake up to. Okay. Now, I added this because we keep getting questions about financially. Now, in the booklet, we actually have a page on preparing for what happens to cyber money if things go down. Okay. Have extra cash. We've had a couple of windstorms where the stores closed, and a few of them still would take cash because the registers are not working. And how much, that's up to you. Kind of the rule of thumb is 30 days of things that you would normally purchase in a store. Okay? Okay. And this is a couple of places that during the windstorm, this is during the windstorm I took these pictures, they were taking cash. Okay? Okay? Now, paper money is paper. And if you study currency throughout the history of men, actually the first currency was turtle shells from China. They actually had receipts that the emperor would give. And that's the farthest back we can have some kind of a way of these receipts that were given out as kind of like a currency. Currencies are only as good as the trust and are only as good as the backing. If you can turn the receipt in for a gem or food or something, then your receipt is good. And if there's a trust, it works. As soon as the trust is gone, it's just paper. And every currency, you know how many U.S. currencies in North America with the colonies and the continental dollar, what happened to it, what happened to Confederate money, because they started to print with no backing, and what happened to the trust? It's over. It's paper. Nobody wants it. I cannot believe, I can't get my brain around $1 trillion not being borrowed. It's total trust. Total trust. And so it's a trust thing. And okay, next. Now they've got this, well, and most of our money really isn't paper, is it? It's digital. It's cyber stuff, And okay, next. Bitcoin. I've got friends, they think this is the new money. I'm not convinced yet because and it's interesting, Bitcoin, how they showed, they don't have Bitcoins, do they? I don't think they have any coins, but notice how they are trying to draw people into getting this cyber money and giving them. I don't understand it. Help me out later. If I may need to be investing in this. Okay, next. Oh, I shut my phone off. I don't know how that happened. Oh, it's saying, okay, you need to end this, Vern.
Alarm's still playing if it's on
Just
silent.
stop your alarm.
Just
Okay.
press the orange
Okay.
thing on the face.
Yeah, that always works, but I want to shut the thing off forever. I mean, through the day. Now, Bullion Coins. I talk to people. My parents were raised in the Depression. My mom was 02, and they could take a $10 bill to the bank and get a $10 gold piece, which is a half an ounce, approximately half an ounce. Or a $20 bill, go to the bank and get an ounce of gold. That changed a little bit in the 30s. Some things happened there and actually got inflated by $15 or 75%. And then when I was a kid and I bought my first gold, my parents, the rule of thumb was in probably your community as well, have about 10 to 20% in real bullion. How many had parents that saved silver dollars or just had gold? Yeah, and they'd have silver dollars or they'd have some little gold pieces. And because what happened to the banking system, they lost trust. And my grandpa actually Yeah, he had some real problems. There's a sad thing with the bank that was very dishonest and took things from him. The next picture shows, these are some U.S. Bullion coins. Okay, next picture. Okay? Never in the history of bullion coins have they ever lost buying value. Never. From China, from anyone. That Chinese coin up on top, there's Nero over there, there's an Egyptian coin. You cannot show any time in the history of man that you take any bullion coin of silver or gold and you couldn't buy with it and exchange it for pesos or yen or euros or dollars. Now, all the currencies are doing all kinds of things, but here is bullion, and the buying value just stays the same. Or not the same, but you can still purchase with that. And my stock guy who wants me to buy stocks, he hates this stuff. He will do everything he can. He says, "Vern, what are you doing?" Well, I don't know. It just, this stock has gone up, but also went down. And now, here is this is conversion. And it's always changing. You see, the currency on the one side is always changing. How much of this to get an ounce of gold and how much of this is, that's going up and down depending on trust. That dime buys about $2. That quarter right there, which is prior to 64, is silver. It's worth about $5. Actually, more than that now. Okay. That quarter, when I was in high school, I had silver quarters in my pocket, about a gallon of gasoline. I can take that quarter down close to Francis where I live, and he'll give me $6. I can buy a gallon of gasoline. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That has not changed much, but what has happened to the dollar? It gets more and more and more. Now, it's going to do this, so I tell people, you have a few bullion coins just in case nobody wants the paper, or your digital account says 0 or something. And that's how I grew up, and that's how some of you can.
I'll just add that
Yeah.
it's a great way to just save money in general as well.
Yes, it is.
Over time, long periods, if you look at gold to silver, from 1913 onward, basically when the dollar became a thing, you can look at all these times throughout history, it is never budged in terms of value. In terms of that value, you're going to save money. And actually outperforms, I think in the case of gold, outperformed the S&P 500 of the last 50, 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
So there's actually a very large case for gold and silver as a
Totally.
savings account, if you will.
I had people laughing at me. Nice people. I mean, not as nice as you guys, but really nice people. They laughed at me in the 90s. I would cash my check and I'd go buy a 10th ounce of gold. The United States, the U.S. only makes, only issues one money. The dollar bills are federal banks. All the paper stuff, it's all federal banks. Because the government has a mint, that's it. And they make copper coins that we have in our pocket, copper quarters, but they also make silver rounds. And they make gold, and it says, "In God we trust." It's the United States of America. That's the only money the United States government actually makes. And most people don't know that. And you can buy, and they've raised their price to be able to get that now, like significantly, and we're not understanding why. They don't want people, I don't think, buying it. I don't know what's happening. And that round right there is the United States government, and all of that is U.S. government, and it's real stuff, and you can get pesos with it. Anywhere you go, people.
Conversion for, just real quick, $1.40 in pre-1960, about 1 ounce.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. And most Americans don't have a clue about this at all. Okay, next. Gold piece. Those little tiny ones, I paid $35. $35, I buy one, I put a little tube. Next month, $35 in tube. Then it went to $40, for one of these. And it's just very interesting. Okay, so here is my recommendation, and this, you don't have notes on this, it's in the booklet though. I have a roll of dimes, or 50 of them, I have a roll of quarters, roll of 50-cent pieces now. And then, if you do have some savings that's significant, don't buy the 1 ounce. How do you buy a chainsaw with that? You know what I mean? I mean, it's too much. To have the little 1/4 ounce, and boy, I tell you, there are events in the world right now, they will take this and they will not take currency. Many of the Ukrainians have come to Spokane and they brought gold with them. They did not trust rubles, they did not trust anything. And so much of the world doesn't think like us. And so anyway, that's just to kind of give you a base, okay? This is a place, and I think you could probably call them and do it. They're one of the biggest in the Northwest. They did a $7 million deal here not long ago. I just asked them, what's your biggest deal? And it's $7 million. And I was standing next to a guy, and there was a $250,000 going on with this guy buying gold. Oh my God, which is about this much, you know. These are honest people, 3rd generation. And if you want to write down American Coin and Vault in Spokane, give them a call. They do business all over the United States and Canada. And these guys, they know, and just say Vern Page told me to call you. And they'll give you a special deal. No, they're going to jack the price. No, but they do know me. And they're wonderful people. Jake is a wonderful Christian man. And yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, next. Okay, barter item. Have things that are of value that people need. Batteries, and get small stuff. You know, don't, you know, propane tanks are really bad, but they're kind of bulky. But get things that are going to run out. Okay, next. Then, okay, home security. Important. When things go bad, people sometimes get ugly. And something even people that you would never guess will suddenly get ugly. And I wish I had time to tell stories on this, but so you do need to just use some common sense here, okay? Now this, I keep it simple. I've got a Norwegian wife, and and I've got a dog, and this is not my wife. But just keep it real simple, and you're good. You know, you don't have to worry, guys. This is a good deal. No, you do need to secure things, and the top 3. And boy, this is so important. Number 1 is your relationship with God. So they kill me. They kill the body, they don't kill the spirit, right? I mean, once we catch that, starving to death is not the worst thing in the world. We're all going to die. So I die. I'd rather be sharing with my neighbors and starving with them than to have mine.
That's right.
And watch them. We need that relationship with God, number 1. Okay, number 2, relationship with the family. You know, just that connection with the family and the extended family. Okay, number 3, relationship with your neighbors. And we've got a couple neighbors that, you know, don't see things the way we do in many areas and don't believe in God and think, you know, differently in a lot of things. And you know what? I'm friends with Frank, and so he's friends with Jeannie, and they're our friends. And in time of need, I've helped them, they've helped me. We need each other when things happen. We need to have that relationship. And a lady from China, which I may mention tomorrow in the service, I'll tell the little story. She grew up during the revolution in China and has some things to say about what's happening. And so anyway, next. Love your neighbors. Okay. Here's the Apostle Paul. Okay? And I would bet that's who you guys are. You're going to help your neighbor, right? Just going to do it. And what are they learning? They're learning, hey, this guy goes to church over here at Crossroads. Might be they're a little different. I mean, man, why would he spend all this time helping me? You know? Okay? So, take a look. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Love God, Jesus said. That was the new commandment. All those laws and stuff in the old, all that stuff, it was all covered with love. You're not going to steal from your neighbor if you love him. You're not going to covet him. You're not going to lie to him. If you have love, it covers all of it, right? And so you love your neighbor. He told the disciples to love one another. You think those guys came from all similar backgrounds and agreed politically and agreed on what to do with the Romans and agreed on everything? They had some arguments around the campfire. I'll bet you anything. And he says, you guys love each other because if you don't, it's going to nullify your message. That I'm trusting you guys to go into the world and make a difference. Okay? And then love your enemy. He said, okay, next. He says, if your enemy is hungry, you feed him. What happens, and boy, there are some situations in Africa where I talked to some people, some Muslims that were killers. They were killing people, and they loved them. They loved them through Christ, and some of them are pastors in the Christian church now because they did what Jesus told them to do. Next, if they're thirsty, you give them something to drink. There's actually some stories coming out of the Ukraine with Russian tankers and some people that are Christian that took in some soldiers. Their tank broke down. How do you change a war? How do you change the thinking? It's through what Jesus tells us to do. Okay? Okay, and so start building little safe pockets with your neighbors and where you live. Okay, next, we got, yes, okay. In conclusion, all right, we're going, this is our kind of final little scenario here. The next picture, we'll talk about this, and this is, what was that on the handout? Was it page 8? Or page 7? And page 7, you got a box, you're in the box, you've stocked the box. You've gone through the 12, and you've even added toilet paper to it, okay? You've added some other things. So you're in the box, and suddenly the temperatures really dip next January, and it drops really cold, we lose power, and everything kind of says, are you going to be able to live, and how do you do it? Starting first, you're going to, okay, next. Okay, the power goes down next. Okay, next, page 8. Oh, is it page 8?
Yes.
It is page 8, okay. It says, yeah, preparation when cold winter. Okay, next. 3 times I've had frozen pipes up in Spokane. And that is a mess and expensive when those break. And so pain tells me you need to be thinking ahead on this. Okay, so the services are gone. We call it 0-10-10 scenario. No services, no gasoline, no food, banking machines aren't working, you have no electricity in the area, nothing's coming into your house, no water coming in, no propane, no natural gas, no electricity. You are in your box and the temperature drops. How do you deal with that? Okay, first. Okay? Man, you got to protect this. That's one of the very first things you do in that first few hours. You got to think, okay, where's the pipes that are vulnerable? How do I protect these? Okay? Keeping the system warm, that is your first option. Next, what we usually do is just keep the water moving because the water is warmer than freezing, right? And if you have water still and you keep it moving through the system, everybody's done that, right? And so that's what we typically do. But let's say we've lost our water or it's so cold that it's not working well. So then what do? You can use artificial heat. You can even use that little candle under sinks, or you can keep that one wall in that one little area in the corner that really gets cold, or my pipe broke. You keep that little area warm. All right? The second is to winterize your system. Okay? Now, in doing this, get as much water out, and if you still have water and you know something's coming, save as much as you possibly can, and then drain the system. Okay, shut your main water off. Again, you're gonna separate from the outside, so if a pipe does freeze, you don't get flooding. So you're gonna seal your house, so you're not gonna have major issues with this, all right? Then you drain your system, you turn the top water valves open so that the gravity, and they can bring air in, and it can drain, if you have a basement, at the lowest point. So you drain your water, all right? Now, are you gonna get every little area of water out of your pipes? Probably not. You're gonna have maybe a couple of breaks in that shower or somewhere. If you have a system where you blow air with pressure, you can really clean it out. And somebody might have that ability, or have a neighbor that has that ability, so you get the water out of your system. But you don't wait around on this if you have no heat in your house, or very little, okay? Next, you set up your living area, and you move into one area of your home, and you're gonna camp in that area. You can bring a mattress or two in, you've got your lighting, and you set up a little area. Okay, next, you're gonna seal off that area from other parts of the house. Now, that was an open doorway, and I sealed it off with Sylvia's mother's hand stitched quilt that was very old, and that was not a wise thing to use for an open doorway. You should use something else. And but it was a good picture.
It's actually page 6, I think.
Okay. Oh, is it back to page 6? Okay.
I think 6 is where we are.
Oh, page 6. Okay. I don't know where we're at. I know where I'm at up here, but we're going through the list. What page is that?
6.
Oh, 6. Has everybody found where we're at?
Think now, I'm just writing everything.
Okay. I tried to make this really simple for you, and I get confused. Seal off that area, seal off windows. There's many ways of doing this, and the best one we're going to share, somebody in my class told me about this. Okay, next, you'd use insulation, okay? That is amazing. And you can get at Walmart for wrapping, put a little moisture on it, and just stick it to your window. You can still get light, you can actually still see through it, you can go both sides with it, and that is going to reduce the heat loss and to prevent cold from coming in. But now you've got a camping area, you're really, 10 below, it comes through the walls. 10 below, we're talking serious here, so you're gonna do everything you can to maintain. But that works, okay? Then get your lighting taken care of, okay? Get your heating system set up, okay? Okay? Get your cooking set up. Now these are little one burners. Go back there. These little one burners are really decent for like apartments or dorm rooms and things like that that you can cook on. Coleman makes a nice little one. Okay. Then you get your sleeping area organized. All right. Now this family of 5. During a windstorm, they lost power in their neighborhood, and they got their little wood stove going, and they got their artificial lights out, and they were camping out. The kids hated when the lights came back on. Seriously, they made they were prepared. This guy actually helps me with these lessons, and has taught some of the lessons. Those kids did not want it to end. Why? What happened during that event?
Family time, yeah.
Family time, and neighborhood kids over, and they turned what was negative into something positive because they're prepared. If they weren't prepared, that could have been a really ugly scene, and for also the neighbors. All right. And you're connecting with neighbors. Great connection time if you've got somebody that has something to connect with. Okay. You have fun, okay, and play, memory, games, all kinds of things that you build these memories. This is in the last chapter, I believe, is it the last chapter of Proverbs? It's one of the last chapters. She doesn't fear winter because she's prepared, okay? Is it 31? Remember what's important. If you get your shelter and your food, now it's relationship. And there were people that came out of this. Now, this was bad news. People died. I mean, it was serious, very serious. And some of you know about that. But there was a lot of amazing things happen to that part of America that helped in the future generations, including my parents. Okay? Why would anyone risk not being prepared? Okay? Many of the people I know, they get these shelves and they get everything on those shelves and they put a tarp over it, and if they have a little window in their basement or something, they keep that open, they keep it really cool in that little area to preserve. Okay? Here's some. Okay. Okay. This is my next door neighbor. Man, he's got everything right there. Here's a neighbor that built his own. Okay? Okay? Water, food, and fuel. Those are the biggies. Okay? And studies have been done. A lot of people will learn something, read an article, say, oh, I need to do that. And if they don't start, you know what happens? You've all done it, right? If you start tonight, the sooner you start, the more likely you will be prepared. And I have had people come back and say, well, we haven't got started yet, but maybe when my husband gets that bonus check, it's not going to happen. But there's a lady in Deer Park, her and her husband came into Spokane, they went out to eat, and they made their list of where they were going to go, and they hit all these stores, and about half the list got checked off that night right after the class. It was a Saturday class. And I would say, man, that's the house you want to go over. They probably have more than I do, but they started. And so don't procrastinate on this, guys. And I guess this is a good group. I'm pretty good at reading body language, but most of you are going, some of you are probably already prepared. That's good. All right. Okay. There is just a peace of mind that, hey, whatever. Even if I starve, it's okay. All right. I ran into that. I thought, wow, is that true? With the world we have today, literally, the electronic connection could be gone. Now, we are Saturday the 2nd, right? What? Tuesday the 12th of this month. Tuesday the 12th. What's going to happen? Oh, is it tax day? No, I didn't.
Tax
Okay.
day's the 18th. 15th.
It's the day before the 13th? Yeah, that's true. What's going to happen on the 12th?
Turkey season.
Oh, say it again?
Turkey season.
No. I have no clue what's going to happen on the 12th. I don't know what's going to happen tonight at 2 o'clock. And there are people all over this world that things happen, boom, right now. And you do not want it to happen without preparation for yourself, your neighbors, your church community. And guys, go out and do it. And I'm excited for you. And get your neighbors on board. Encourage them. Give stuff to your neighbors. Hey, here's a couple buckets. Just keep it in case.
I'd say it's a good time to start too, because we're moving into spring. It's going to be getting warm. You're going to have lots of time to do it.
Yes, there you go.
It's harder to do it in the winter.
And don't say you don't have money. Sell something. Sell that antique that you never really use. Some way, figure it out how you can get at least food and some things. All right. Hey, we're on time. Okay, next. Yep, that's it. And I will be here to answer questions if you have it. But the big thing is start. And the sooner you start, in the next, 7 o'clock would be a good starting time tonight, and get at least one thing checked off. And great, you guys are, you're a good group.
Hey, Vern,
You know,
I've got a question for somebody who's watching online.
yeah,
Okay, they want to know, how long can water be stored before it has to be rotated?
in most of the containers, glass, I'd say every 10,000 years, maybe you might think it's just maybe the cap. With plastics, if they're food grade, they would last for many years. You really wouldn't need to worry, but they can change it out for years if it makes them feel better about it. If you're in a good container, good food grade, number 2 container, or glass, I would not worry about even in 20 years.
Okay, they purchased some of the pouches of water that you showed.
Oh, the little pouches, yeah.
And they say they have expiration dates.
They do. Tell them to erase that. And they can use white gasoline to get that little number off there. No, I mean, they are sealed. Our pilots, I got those free because of that expiration date. They are good for 20, 30 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like salt. And there's no expiration date on salt, and it's on the package,
I just want to add something on the oxygen absorbers. Few things. One, you got to make sure and use them within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Very short window once you open up the package.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I put them in a jar that has a sealed lid.
Yep.
Just put them all in there. Yeah,
That's
good
like
point.
When you go to prep your food, or if you're going to do Mylar bags or jars or whatever, you just make sure and have everything out that you're going to use.
And
for
do it quick.
And do it quick. Yep.
Because you don't want to be absorbing oxygen from the air in your room. Right.
And then there's also some goods that they aren't really used well for, I guess. Specifically, they're really good for dry stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do like a low oxygen environment for wet type foods.
No,
because
don't put them in
of
jelly
botulism.
and things like that.
Yeah.
Jelly has sugar anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no, that's a good point. Yeah, dry, it is for dry goods. Yeah. Good, thank you.
If you're gonna store water for long term.
If it comes out of the tap, it's already been chlorinated. So it's already had that happen. Unless there's been an earthquake, an event, or something you think maybe the system's messed up. But all the water that comes in our home, it goes through a system. It's done for you. But if it makes you feel better, yeah, throw a couple, a little bit in there. It wouldn't hurt it, except that you get more chlorine in your system. Yeah, people ask that. Tap water has been chlorinated, so you're good to go on that.
We have well water, so.
Oh, no, well water, okay. And now you drink it right from your well without chlorination? Good, you got good well. And so as long as you've got good water you put in, it's gonna stay good. Okay?
I just wanted to point out too, we do have a ham radio club here in LeGrand. If anyone wants to connect with them, you can go and get your ham radio license, learn about radios, learn how to work them and all that sort of thing. So it's a pretty, the club will help you get set up. It is very
Huge.
helpful.
That is really important. Because if you have no electronic communication, now think of this, nobody is talking to you, you are talking to nobody. What happens to us as human beings? And so we've got guys in our church that really would love to have you up there. Because we're wanting to connect. We want to keep our church, our friendships, our families connected, and we may not be able to do it in the conventional means, and so CV is huge.
Yeah, it's remember it's w7gra.org.
Put that on your evaluation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Vern, what was the questions for our viewer, or
Okay.
people watching? What was the question?
They have a CB club here in LeGrand, and they will help people get started to connect with others in an event where communications are down.
And what's the
And the number is
It's W7GRA. If you just look for that.
W7GRA. Dot.
Double check it here real quick. Yep, w7gra.org.
.org. Okay, good. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on vacuum sealing? for a long-term
Oh,
storage?
it's great.
Do you have a
Anything,
particular method or manufacturer or type of bag you like? I know there's a bunch out
Mylar, now you can get Mylar bags, and they're the ones like, you know, that little powdered milk was in a Mylar, and you can buy Mylar bags at different outlets, I imagine right here in town. Winco is where we get our Mylar bags, where you don't even need the bucket in some cases. The bucket does prevent from mice chewing through and it just gives that added protection. Put the Mylar bag and the food and the oxygen absorbers in that, and then sealing it. Some great YouTubes on that too, where you can, you know, get the latest. There's things I don't even know that are happening so fast because people are very serious about storing right now.
And with the Mylar bags, you can actually seal them with a curling iron if it gets up to about 4.
On a curling.
I don't
flat-
Sorry, flat iron.
flat iron. You need
She's
one.
got the right info. It's not making news straight.
400 degrees does things to your air, doesn't it? Doesn't smell good in the bathroom. What happened? When protein breaks down, bad news molecules, and it's really, you know what I'm saying? I'm a molecular guy. I think when you change these complex proteins, they have these horrible smells, right? And so that's why a rotting deer out in the forest doesn't smell good as the bacteria take apart proteins. Not that you needed to know that.
I was going to mention one thing. You mentioned about the gold place up in Spokane. We have one here too.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.
He's been in business probably, I can't think, at least 40 years.
And he's trustworthy.
Very trustworthy.
Oh,
Man.
yeah, that's great. And I didn't know.
Yeah, Lagrange Gold and Silver, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Rick Gately.
Rick Gately, and talk to these gentlemen if you're
Yeah.
interested in getting some dimes. And the cheapest way to go is, they call it junk silver. It's not junk, it's silver.
It's 90%.
Dimes,
Yeah.
quarters, 50-cent pieces.
Poor man's silver.
Yeah,
It's
poor man's silver.
denominated and it's also portioned, so, you know, a dime is actually a little bit less than 1/10 of an ounce of silver, so you can actually, you know, make your trades a little bit easier. I love the dimes for that particular reason, for barter, if you need, you know, a small amount
Yeah.
to trade with someone.
Oh, yeah, you can get a loaf of bread for a dime or something, you know, a real dime. And a real dime is, yeah. And, okay, anything else? I think we got some chili downstairs on here.
Hey, Vern, before we go,
Yeah.
I would like everybody to know that just about 3 hours ago, we launched our website for the church. And I'm telling you that because you're watching you're here. If there are questions that kind of got by you or some information that kind of zipped by you, you can go on either the website and access our YouTube channel, or you can find our YouTube channel and you can watch this. I'm going to leave this up for 2 more days. So in the next 2 days, if you want to, you know, just kind of skim through and find that part of the program that you really want to pick up some information, I want you to be able to do that.
That is great. Yeah, wow. Oh, I did bring a silver quarter, 50-cent piece, and this is what the mint has been making for over 30 years. It's a silver dollar. It's the United States government silver dollar. They have just jacked the price of $12 over spot. It used to be, I think, for the big guys, $2 over spot. It just went up, I heard, $12 now, extra. And so if you can find somebody that wants to sell this for a little over spot, grab them, because they've just jumped up. They've inflated too. And, yeah.
Are you going to do a drawing for those two?
No. Well, there's about $40. This is like $40, just this little bit of silver. And that used to be a dollar or something, you know? And so anyway, I just got these. If you've never, you know, seen a real silver quarter. Well, here's a silver quarter and a new copper quarter. One's worth 25 cents and one's worth over $5. And yeah. What are they selling for now? Silver.
Well, for $50, you're looking at about $10.50.
Yeah.
Order, you're probably looking at about 6.
Yeah. And just think, I had these in my pocket. I was just, it was common. I mean, that's what we had. And the dollar was trusted internationally. Total. It was the most, it was like the Swiss franc. It was because it was trusted. And it's still being trusted, just not as much. And all right, guys, fantastic. I think and if you have any questions, come on up and we'll, I think they're got a meal for us. I tell you, who did not get a anything?
They're in the bucket.
Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Okay, here's a silver cord.